Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to cover a couple of news stories from this past weekend. The first one, this story about a man who went to the Northwest Detention Facility in Tacoma, Washington, and was apparently throwing incendiary devices, and was eventually shot and killed by police. The actor in this attack was previously on a CNN program on television, claiming to be Antifa. So already we understand that this man is an actor participating in one of these hoax fake news stories. The next story we'll look at is how Pink has been in trouble lately, or at least a little bit of controversy that she's experiencing, because she photographed her children running through the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, Germany. And as I'm going to show you in this video, it's the language of Gematria that is coded into our news stories and is essentially what decides what we see on any given day in the mainstream media. This practice, which dates back to ancient Hebrew and Greek languages, is very much well and alive in today's English alphabet. It's very simple. We either use English ordinal, with the alphabet numbered 1 through 26, forwards and backwards, and then the reduction methods, or Pythagorean gematria, which reduces each double-digit number to a single digit. And when compared to dates on the calendar, we find some pretty wild alignments in these stories. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we'll look at this event in Tacoma, Washington, which occurred on July 13th, a date with full numerology of 59, 7 plus 13 plus 20 plus 19. Now, in my last video, I talked about Amazon Prime Day and the significance of prime numbers in this language. Well, the number 59 is a prime number, and it happens to be the 17th prime number. The city of Tacoma, in the reduction method, sums to 17. So does the word ice. The ice facility in Tacoma is where this event took place. The man who was killed in this story was named Willem Van Spronsen, and Van Spronsen has matching gematria with the date numerology of 59. Another significant form of gematria I teach is called Jewish gematria, and this cipher seems to be linked to the alphabetic order. And an example sits right here in the word kill. Kill sums to 17 and the 17th prime number, 59. Now notice how both Tacoma, which sums to 109, and ice both have this 1-9 sequence in the numbers. Of course, 0 ignored, so the number 109 represents 19. This man was shot by police. Shot equals 17 and 19. Of course, the year is 2019. In Hebrew, the word for kill sums to 19 and 244. Something that's attributed in English. Notice how 19 equals 244 in Jewish gematria. Hebrew, the ancient language of the Jews. As far as the number 244, this brings us to the state of Washington, where this news story occurred. Now, in my videos, I'm very consistent in measuring from the date that states were admitted to the Union. If you measure from that date to the date that they are in the news, you're always going to find something interesting. And in this case, we find that Washington was 244 days after its anniversary. As far as the 129, something I just realized, in English gematria, the other large number method, which uses the current 26-letter English alphabet, Tacoma, Washington equals 1,290. So this makes it interesting that this story in Tacoma, Washington takes place while the state is 129 years old. May sound random at first, but trust me, this is how this code works. Next, let's think about the date July 13th and how we write that date. Internationally, the date is written 13/7. And 137 is a pretty significant number. The word government equals 137. This event at a government detention facility, detention in that same method, also summing to 137. Now this is a prime number. 137, the 33rd prime number. Of course, 33, the highest rite of Scottish Rite Masonry. Masonry equals 33. Important number in its own right. The word federal, also 33. And you could go on with this. False flag equals 33. Police, 33. They work by secrecy, 33. The date July 13th leaves 171 days on the Gregorian calendar. And, of course, if you're familiar with my work, you also know that the dates on which total eclipses occur are also very significant. Total eclipse summing to 137, the 33rd prime number, eclipse equals 33. But anyway, if we measure from the date of this story to the next total solar eclipse, notice how we get 17 months in one day. July 13th, also the date leaving 171 days in the year. So how interesting is it that this story goes down at a detention center, which equals 171? This detention center, which belongs to ICE, a division of the United States Department of Homeland Security. And in reduction, this sums to 171. Next, we'll look at the governor of Washington, something else I am extremely consistent in. We're going to look at the date he was born and the date he took office. Obviously, the two most logical dates you could tie to this story. Well, first of all, J. Inslee sums to 1170 in Jewish Gematria. This stands out because in the English Sumerian method, July 13th, the date, also equals 1170. But that's a secondary cipher. Let's look at these main ciphers. This man's full name is J. Robert Inslee. In the alphabetic order, his name sums to 178. Inslee was sworn into office on January 16th. And if you measure from January 16th to the date of this incident, it was 178 days. Now, in English Gematria, this man's name sums to 1357. And if you instead measure to his birth date, February 9th of 1951, you find he's 3,570 weeks old. And one day, kind of like how his name equals 1,357 in Gematria. But 357, this number in this method is important for another reason. The word Freemason has a value of 357. And this man's name has a lot of overlap with Freemasonry. His name sums to 227 in the reverse alphabetic order. Ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 227 in reverse reduction. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry sums to 1487 in Jewish. J. Robert Inslee equals 1487 in Jewish. The name J. Inslee also equals 143, just like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 143. This news story takes place in Tacoma, Washington, which sums to 1,430. And as far as the 227 that we showed, this also ties into the United States Department of Homeland Security, 227. Furthermore, J. Inslee equals 53. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement sums to 503. And I wouldn't mention this alone, but In one of our capital letter ciphers, J. Inslee also equals 198. Funny that this news story occurred the same day that a 198 million Powerball lottery ticket was sold. In single reduction, United States Department of Homeland Security, also with that 198 value. Speaking of that lottery, by the way, I should have done a post on this, but how funny was it that on Saturday we got this news story about the Tennessee governor signing a bill honoring a Confederate named Nathan Bedford Forrest. Nathan Bedford Forrest was exactly 198 years old on that day. And then the winning Powerball ticket was sold to a man from Tennessee. And it was $198 million. So for those of you who still play the lottery trying to win those jackpots, just knock it off already. It's always rigged by the numbers, and normal people are not winning that money. Good luck. All right, so the man who was killed at this detention center, throwing Molotov cocktails over the fence, some stupid news story to begin with. Who's going to throw Molotov cocktails over a fence? It's ridiculous. Well, anyways, they told us that he was 69 years old. Right here, as shown by the news article. In Gematria, July 13th equals 69. And think about how this happened on a Saturday. Well, Saturn, which Saturday is named after, you know what I just realized? I think this detention center... Hang on, I got to find the Wikipedia page. Okay, this is a different detention center that's located at 511. So maybe that just doesn't apply here. But just think about it. Saturday named after Saturn. And thanks to Zach for pointing this out on his blog. Saturn equals 69, which is the age of the man. July 13th equals 69. Oh, you know what? Forgive me for figuring things out on the fly, but I guess it's better that I do this than not at all. Check this out. Saturn in Hebrew. This is the Saturn we're looking for down here, guys. In Hebrew Gematria, Saturn sums to 713. Bingo, there it is. This incident occurred on the date 7/13 on a Saturday. So, no wonder this man who's 69 years old, like Saturn equals 69, his name is Willem van Spronsen, which sums to 93 in reverse. Saturn equals 93 in ordinal. Also notice how Saturn sums to 21. Well, the 21st triangular number is 231. And look at the name Willem van Spronsen, 231 in the alphabetic order. Now, the planet Saturn represents judgment, and we receive judgment upon death. His name also sums to 228 and 2180. Notice how the word death equals 228 and 218 in some of our other Gematria ciphers, Sumerian and English Extended, which we touched on both of those earlier. Finally, the name Van Spronsen also sums to the same as Washington. You get a 49 and 140 in both methods. So yeah, thanks to Zach for pointing out that Saturday thing, and with Saturn, and allowing me to make the connection with the Hebrew Gematria of Saturn, 713, like the date of this thing. I knew it wasn't just because it was on a Saturday, because a lot of things happen on Saturday, but when that date also aligns with the Hebrew Gematria of Saturn, then we really hit our bingo. So, all right. Now, the next story I want to look at is this ridiculous story about Pink allowing her kids to run through the Holocaust Museum. And Pink posted this photo to her Instagram or Twitter or whatever the hell it is yesterday, July 14th. Notice how this date had 33 numerology, a life lesson number, 33. This story is about how people are trying to mom shame her Notice how mom shame equals 33. But more interesting, perhaps, is that the word holocaust equals 33, the memorial at which they are. This date also had 60 numerology, and this Holocaust memorial was in the city of Berlin. And, her next tweet said, "I love you, Berlin," or something to that effect. So Berlin is a huge part of this numeric ritual. Notice how in the reverse alphabetic order, Berlin sums to 39. This brings us to the singer Pink. Pink was born on September 8th of 1979. If you measure from that date to the date of this news story, she was 39 years and 309 days old. The phrase mom shame also with 39 in reduction, just like Berlin. Now, I'm going to say this again, but I am very consistent when talking about news stories. We looked at the one from Washington and how that related to the date that Washington was admitted to the Union, and also the governor of Washington. Well, here we're going to look at the national holiday for Germany. And normally it's an Independence Day for most nations, but in Germany it's Unity Day because they used to be the West and the East. Now they celebrate Unity Day on October 3rd. Well, measuring from the last Unity Day to the date of this news story gives us 9 months and 11 days. This is significant because in Jewish Gematria, pink equals 119. What I did forget to look at is the numerology of Angela Merkel. We'll get there at the end of this. Pink's full name is Elisha Beth Moore. Well, for starters, we'll start with looking at Elisha Moore, which equals 97 in ordinal. And this is the same as running, right? 97. Her kids were running through the Holocaust Memorial, which equals 97. These I would consider fairly loose connections, but 97 is the 25th prime number. And we were talking about Pink's birthday. We were also talking about Unity Day. Well, notice how those days are separated by 25 days. And the date of this news story today, July 15th, has 25 numerology. So next we're going to look at the numerology of this Holocaust memorial, which is called the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. Construction of this memorial began on January 27th of 2000, which means on the date of this news story and the date of this news article, it was 7,109 days old. This sticks out because Berlin, Germany equals 719. However, there's two other dates that are significant. The memorial was completed on December 15th of 2004, and then it was inaugurated on May 10th of 2005. So what's interesting about both of these measurements? First of all, you get exactly 175 months, and this applies whether you measure to the date of Pink's tweet or if you measure to the date of today's news story. You get 175. Now, if we measure to the other date, May 10th of 2005, we get 170 months and 5 days. So we get this double connection to the number 175. And check out the gematria of this memorial. Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe equals 175. Also notice the 176, because if you include the end date, you get 170 months and 6 days, right? So interesting connections right there. And this definitely explains why this memorial is in the news. Something else that sticks out, there's this cipher called Satanic Gematria, which I don't talk about very often, but it is relevant. In this method, satanic gematria sums to 666. That, of course, the 36th triangular number, and this cipher begins with the number 36. So in this method, memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe equals 1555. Well, how interesting is it that 15th of July also equals 1555? And if you measure from Pink's date of birth to the date of this news story, she was 14,555 days old. So, I mean, you can call it playing with numbers because there's a 4 in there, but if I'm ever going to play with numbers, it's really, really large numbers like this that, you know, there's just too much overlap to ignore. All right, guys. So that'll do it for my decode. Thanks to Zenith for jumping in. If anybody who's watching this is not subscribed to Zenith of the Alpha America, please do so. So yeah. Thanks to everybody who jumped in. And this is my final video tonight. Going to be taking it easy after this. So thanks to everybody who checked the videos out. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace, love, God bless, etc. And we'll talk to you next time.